The 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Covered by Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
I like the, we're talking in the break. Jeff yesterday did a drill movie review for, did you do that here?
No, I just told you guys.
Oh, it was a Netflix movie called The Wrong Missy.
It's very vulgar, very, that new wave of kind of.
It's part of Sandler's ongoing
Sandler,
deal with Netflix.
yeah.
It's his production company.
And Sandler has a formula, and it's good. And I enjoy Sandler movies. This is Dave. I'm not a big David Spade guy. He toned it down some in this one.
Yeah, I'm not either, but he was better in this.
He was as he gets older. But
I enjoyed him in the other Sandler Netflix one where they were like the accidental spies.
Did you not like? It's kind of cringy. You cringe a little bit. It makes you uncomfortable a couple times in that movie.
I didn't tell BWR about it.
Good move.
And so, but she's told me, she's gotten into Netflix. She's a Netflix. She watches a lot more Netflix than I do. And she says some of them,
they're too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
And that is one. That's
so
like that 40-year-old virgin at the beginning went, bleep you know, bleep you know, bleep you know.
Right,
it's a little much.
But Jeff was like the trailer yesterday is how I put it, because he said, okay, let me tell you this one scene, and it was funny.
But that was the only one.
And there was a good scene. And then he told me something else, and he
I
basically told me all the good parts. Is what I thought when I watched
I'm sorry
it.
about that. I would like to think they would reenact them better than I
went
orated.
Here's when I know it's not a great movie for me, because when you watch them on Netflix, you hit that little fast forward button to get
Did
through
you do that?
a couple times. So it was okay. It was fine. It was good. But I liked,
it's mindless. I wasn't. Yeah,
I would like. I know. I'm not calling this the game. Trust me. I
rewatched the game.
Nothing could ever be the game.
I overstated the impact of the game many years ago.
But it's been a good bit for us for years. So just roll with it.
Yeah.
Stand by it. This one, you thought that was better than some of the other ones. I like the other ones better than that one.
Which
for me, the Sandler ones, like 50 First Dates. And
I'm not sure I've seen 50 First Dates.
50 First Dates is a classic.
Yeah, I like those.
What's the one where he has the remote control? Was that him?
That's Click.
Yeah,
I thought this was better than Click. I thought.
Oh, see, I like Click.
Yeah, see, Click was more when he started doing like the family movies. He did that, and he did bedtime stories.
Spanglish.
Spanglish, I didn't.
Spanglish
was awful.
That's Sandler trying to be an actor.
Yeah, that was terrible.
This was I'll tell you what I should have said. This movie is like, again, this is what you're getting. And I didn't mean to present it as anything else. Mm-hmm. You're getting Deuce Bigelow. That's what this movie was.
Yes.
It was Deuce Bigelow.
Yes. And it's one of those, like it because it's 90 minutes, too.
It's, right. I don't go over 90. And it's tried and true, and you know what's going to happen at the end, but it's funny anyway.
Oh, you knew.
Yeah.
And
you knew.
And I will say this. The premise, I don't want to get too much into it, but I will say this. As it started, I was thinking, now, how in the heck is he really going to fall in love with this lady over the other one?
Right. Yeah.
And I still don't quite see that. So that was my...
Yeah, she is so obnoxious.
Oh, my gosh,
So
dude.
annoying.
Oh, God.
And then they changed her at the end, so now suddenly she's somber, pensive person.
Yeah, right.
That annoyed me a little bit at the very end.
Right. Her feelings got, quote, hurt.
Yeah.
Your feelings got hurt? Come on.
But if just for a mindless, vulgar, adult comedy, I thought it was. I thought it was okay.
I liked. What was the one? What was the other Netflix one he just did? Was that with Jen Aniston?
Well, that was like a year ago, but yeah.
What was that?
The murder mystery.
Yeah, I thought that was okay. I like that one.
I didn't see that one. What is it?
Yeah, last year Sandler did a movie with Aniston, Murder Mystery.
He has a Netflix deal
or whatever.
Yeah, they were on. Was it like
a
resort?
Yeah, it was like a whodunit.
Was it good?
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
I'll watch that one. I'll watch that.
I thought it was okay. Anyway, sports concepts and rationalizations. We call it the 10-minute drill. We're doing it right here, right now. Nice moment in NASCAR last night. Right?
Yeah,
the kid wins. He and his wife lost a
she had
a
a miscarriage this week. Yeah.
Chase Briscoe is his name. It's been a tough week. He said the hardest week of his life. She was having her 12-week exam, and they found out that the little baby had no heartbeat. So a couple days later, he wins the Xfinity Series as he held off Kyle Busch at Darlington. So congratulations to him. That was a nice story and nice to see. So I thought that was pretty cool as we went through that last night. So other things going on, discussions continue in all sports, but we mentioned the NHL is ready to vote. SEC is going to do some voting about returning in June. Baseball, no real updates. They have to work through some things and financially before they can get to where they need to be. Basketball looks like it's going to get the ball rolling here a little bit as well, the NBA, which is good stuff. So that's all good news going forward.
The conclusion that I draw, and this is my speculation, my own theory, so I'm not putting anything out there that's going to be, medically approved by the CDC. But whenever I see these restrictions being lifted ahead of when most people think they should be, it makes me suspect that the government and officials know something that's going to be coming good news-wise. Like, it seemed to me way aggressive when they opened the gyms. Remember Georgia opened the gyms when they were,
Right.
Well, now when you learn that surface contact doesn't lead to much infection, it makes perfect sense that gyms are open.
Right.
You're at very minimal risk. You're by yourself, separated from everyone, and now you know that, touching your equipment or pushing your, pushing buttons on treadmills isn't going to do anything. So hopefully this sudden, quickness that we're moving towards opening and playing and reporting. I mean, listen. If I told you 2 weeks ago that college campuses were going to welcome their athletes back on campus the first week of June, you would have said no way.
Well, Lincoln Riley said ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
And now here we are. So I think that it's been again, just this isn't fact, this is opinion, but because of what I'm seeing, I think it's being contained and controlled and progress towards vaccines and such are moving quicker than we would have thought, which is awesome.
If you're looking for a fun division in football in the NFL in the 2020 season, the NFC South has it all, man. I mean, that is going to be.
Imagine if Cam had stayed. You'd have 4 MVP quarterbacks.
That is going to be so cool. So, with all due respect to us and the AFC South, the NFC South is kind of where it's at this year. And Brady and Sean Payton have already exchanged a couple texts. Because they play week 1. And Brady has reminded Sean Payton that you're the favorites in that game. Vegas has made New Orleans, I think, a 4.5-point favorite at home, which is rightfully so. But I think Brady relishes in that, and Payton's like, yeah. Payton is telling Tom, we need to quiet the cannons. I said, # keep the cannons quiet. We've known each other for years. So they're having a little back and forth fun. Meantime, Atlanta will sit in the back and say, we're pretty good too. And then Carolina, though, I think it could go belly up this year. I don't know.
Don't you get the sense that we're going to see a side to Tom Brady that we haven't seen in his New England lockdown?
Could be.
We've never seen Tom Brady tweet an opposing coach.
Right.
He just feels like he's operating under this
free,
freedom, right?
I'm free.
And again, I don't think Tom Brady would change his career.
Right. No.
Right? He got all those titles.
No.
But that stoic Robo Brady that we've seen all these years, at least publicly.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen Tom Brady press conferences. I've never heard him tell a joke.
Right.
Not many.
That's
a joke to Tom, to Sean Payton, right?
I'm excited about his documentary, his 9-part documentary, because it's called In the Arena, which is one of my favorite quotes of all time from Theodore Roosevelt that I think John F. Kennedy used in a speech, where the credit belongs to the man in the arena. You've heard me say it before. His face is marred with dust and sweat and blood, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and in the end, he triumphs. But if he fails, at least he fails greatly, so that his place shall never be with the cold and timid souls who knew neither victory nor defeat.
I know one. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I think Tony used to use, you weren't in the arena.
You never played.
To discount your football takes.
You never played the game.
Yeah, that's right. Good point. So I think that's and basically all that's saying, obviously, if you listen to the quote, is, look, man, you're out there, you're taking a chance, you're putting yourself out there, good for you. And so, anyway, that's obviously something that Brady has lived by. But it will be interesting to see what they're able to come up with. I heard you guys talking, and, Jordan had the crew for the 1 year, the Last Dance year, follow him around. And I
would not have known that. There was nothing in that documentary that screamed that to me.
Well, the back behind inside the stadium with the security guards, all that, him sitting around shooting the breeze with people, all that.
But there was nothing. There was not a lot of
him
content
in the hotel
to that.
room when he was talking about how difficult it was to be Michael Jordan, laying on his
on the
couch,
bed.
and then the shot of him. The best shot to me one of the best shots of the entire documentary was him walking out of the elevator in the hotel, making the right turn.
Oh my goodness!
And then the swarm of fans, and it just documented to you what he was talking about.
Yeah.
How
I don't remember who
difficult-
was talking, but it was like you don't understand.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't
You
mean
can't
to imply
understand.
it wasn't good.
No,
I'm just
I know what you're saying,
You know,
but
it
I-
wasn't
I-
like incredibly
because
wow.
My
what
first
access.
my first thought about it was, well, what scenes did we get from that camera crew? And I was like, but then as I started to think about it, it was, I think, interwoven so well into the documentary that it worked.
I guess it's hard. You know what? And I will say this too, in fairness, and I don't mean this. Oh, look at us.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have our job and we're in that casual locker room, been in that casual locker room 1,000 times, so it doesn't stand out to me as. But if you're just Joe fan,
Oh, yeah.
and your experience
Oh, yeah.
with sports is watching on television or maybe going to a game,
Right.
to see that inside the locker room.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen
Well, you're not going to.
Jags joking around the locker room, talking with each other. You know,
Yeah.
we've seen that kind of thing.
And listen, the new normal, those days are be long gone. You know, we won't be heading into the locker room anymore, I don't believe.
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, but certainly not immediately. That's for sure. I think and again, it's our profession. I think that the locker room is completely unnecessary. Personally, as long as you bring, you got to provide players.
Well, I love the locker room after a game. I think that's
absolutely
like
you capture that emotion.
last
for
year
sure.
when we were heading into the locker room and all of a sudden the doors close again and you
Yeah.
can hear the
Screaming.
screaming. And
Yeah.
I mean, those are things that you want to talk to about the fans and
Yeah.
and get that raw emotion because the game just ended and there's a cooling off period, but it's not near long enough. So you still get in there when they're still, have laid it on the line for 4 hours. So
I would. To me, the locker room once females became journalists and active and sports reporters. I think we should change the system a little.
they probably
I mean,
went.
I don't think it's fair for whether it's a naked woman being covered
Oh,
by
yeah,
a
yeah,
man or a naked man with women in the locker. I just think it's weird to me.
I'm surprised it hasn't been changed.
Yeah.
They, ESPN, I'm guessing, went to Tom Brady maybe even after the first episode of The Last Dance and they saw the numbers. They knew we're on to something here.
I think there's.
And I wonder if, well, they wouldn't have released it till June, right? And so it still would have worked. We would have talked about it just as much. The Last Dance would have worked no matter when it ran.
But if sports will be going by then, though,
Yes.
if they are, then it would have lessened it. Certainly that. Because here's what happened by running it when they did. And again, I know it's not the be-all, end-all. SportsCenter may lose some of its, attraction when there aren't events, so people may not be watching SportsCenter as much. I watch it every day just to kind of get my brain rolling down the sports highway. And the one thing that running The Last Dance did now is they made a news story out of it.
Well, yes.
Like the reaction. Okay, here's what happened last night. Let's talk to this person.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the dollars and cents they made from doing the documentary and the success of the documentary. You're right. They would not have as much news coverage about a documentary if we were playing sports. But I think that we will all talk about Tom Brady and the man in the arena like we do Jordan. Now, can it be as good in Jordan's? I don't know. A lot of factors go in. Does it have to be 9 parts? I don't know. What is it? What is the premise of it? His entire life?
I guess my point is this, Dan. I would almost rather Tom Brady let a camera follow him from right now until the end of this first season in Tampa, and give me a 9-point part on that.
Well, see, I like the.
Because
he can give me
tuck
but he can give me
rule
the
and
stuff about
Deflategate now,
Giselle and
Deflategate
and the baby
Spy Cam,
the child he had with Bridget Moynihan.
That's true too. Yeah, there's a lot there. There's a lot there for
a lot
sure.
of Tom Brady, the relationship with Belichick. Get his dad to sit down. His dad's always been a real, obviously very defensive of his son, and what Tom did away from the wearing the New York Yankees hat the one time he got, there's a lot of good stuff in there for Tom Brady that I look forward to. Stories that we've heard that can be revisited.
Obviously, if we had our druthers, we could come up with a lot of, not a lot.
He could sit and talk about every Super Bowl. There's 9 1 hours, and there you go.
No, I hear you.
So
there's a lot there. I like new. We've gotten to the point where so much is available through YouTube and feed services and documentaries and E60s that I something newer that I haven't seen would appeal to me too. Look, regardless of who you're rooting for to win the Super Bowl, where would Tom Brady joining the Bucs and winning the Super Bowl this year rank?
Oh my gosh,
Would that be like one of the biggest
First
storylines
off,
ever?
he would do it at home because the Super Bowl's in Tampa. That's never happened.
Imagine
So-
if it were the
Weird.
Patriots.
No one is. It's weird that's kind of like a sub angle. No one's talked about, Dan.
What, that it's at home?
The Super Bowl's in Tampa.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so, yeah, look for a Tom Brady. And, by the way, look for Tom Brady on television on Sunday. I'm looking forward to this more than I should be. I feel like I'm on an island here. No one else has got this pregame excitement. I'm looking more forward to that than watching Michigan play Iowa in football one Saturday afternoon. I mean, this really is right up my alley. I can't wait for Sunday. I look forward to that more than the Colonial.
Yeah.
I look forward to a lot more than I look forward to last week's, which I watched every shot.
Mm-hmm.
But this has got a ton of a potential here as a TV show.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care who wins the skins. I like to see how they're going to react with, in scenarios that I've been in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like I said, I'll watch.
I know.
I'm not,
You can't. One thing I've learned that you learn. It takes a long time to learn this in life. You can't make people like something. You can't. You can't argue. You can't convince someone to like something they don't. In other words, if you went to Florida State, I can convince you with 1,000 arguments for a million years. You're not suddenly going to like Florida. Hey, you can't talk that into or out of someone. I have a quick reference quiz for you, Dan Hicken.
I'm ready.
Would like you to tell me just one simple
This
question.
is a reference quiz,
Yes.
not a pop quiz.
No, reference quiz. Yeah, no reference quiz music. No.
None
Are
needed.
you browsing Dan's resume?
No. I'm not going to call his references. I am his reference. I just want you to tell me, in your frame of mind, did Mac Brown have a better record in his first year at North Carolina or his last year at Texas?
Frame of mind, I'm going to say first year at North Carolina.
Yeah. What did Mac Brown go last year at North Carolina?
I don't know, but
What
I'm going
would
to
you
guess 8-4.
Okay, 8-4.
Yeah.
And what was his last year at Texas?
7-5, 6-6.
Okay.
That's my frame of reference.
That's it's very educated frame of reference. There's notion that Mac Brown was just starting to spiral into failure at Texas, and
Yes.
they had to move on past him. So
Yes.
after an 8-5 season in 2013, he was let go by Texas, returned to North Carolina where he used to coach, where he and I think this where he went 7-6. Point being, it's amazing how your success is measured at North Carolina versus Texas,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, Mac Brown got run out because he didn't understand anymore. This, by the way, in a long career at Texas for like 15 years.
Right.
He had seasons of 11-2, 11-2, 10-3, 11-1, 13-0, 10-3, 10-3, 12-1, 13-1. That many.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went sideways. He went 5-7 a year, then 8-5, 9-4, 8-5, got fired, was out of the game in broadcasting. It seemed odd that North Carolina brought him back. But he got this Sam Howell immediately. One thing Mac Brown always
if you're
did
North
at Texas.
Carolina, you are ecstatic.
Sure.
You got Sam Howell, and you took Clemson down to the wire, and you went for the win. I mean, you couldn't, and you got to a bowl game. Did you win? I think you won the bowl game.
They
too,
won the
right?
Military Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great year.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what else, Dan? And it's early. I remember last year or one year recently, we looked at recruiting rankings right now. Remember Ole Miss was number 1? They ended up 40th.
Yeah.
So recruiting rankings right now, if you're looking at
he's got him in the
they're number 2.
Well. Yeah.
So look, what an awesome hire for North Carolina to convince Mac Brown. There was some skepticism about North Carolina moving back to
He was
Mac
out
Brown.
for 5 years. How old is Mac Brown? Is he 70?
Oh God, 70.
Yeah.
Play the over there, friend.
Is he?
Mac Brown's got to be 75, doesn't he? 2009. His first year coaching was
Mac
80.
Brown is 68.
Wow, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
He's got years left there.
He's an old 68.
Now, but he is an old 68.
He's weathered.
It's amazing. This guy, he coached for 35 years, and then he took 5 years off for broadcasting, but I guess that's right.
Yeah. Well, you two are supposed to be my friends. There was no concern whatsoever about my well-being. I'll tell you what happened in the Bay yesterday when we returned.
Well, how were we to know about your well-being being in question?
Oh, I thought of you, but then I remembered the way you dug on me yesterday, and I said, well, the hell with him.
There you go.
Well, you two yesterday, I thought, were
Beef
borderline
with beef.
unprofessional in your personal beefs. This is The Drill. It's an All-American Friday brought to you by All-American Roll-Off and Recycling. A JV Cogsworth Company.